Quick trade recap for today. Um, I took this trade. I took it on demo, so I don't have any accounts right now. But I blew them all. You know how that goes. But yeah, I took this trade on paper trading and really nice setup. So I just want to go into the bias for the day. So going and okay, there's not really any point in trying to go back because trading view doesn't work like that. But going into this day, I was bearish. Now, why was I bearish? Bigger time frame. First thing I noticed is that at all, by the way, I haven't traded in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I was looking at the daily time frame because I hadn't seen it in a minute. But first thing I noticed is that we have a SMT at all-time highs. So as you can see here on the 28th of January, ES swept out this high here, and then this high swept out all-time highs. So I mean, essentially we have this bearish SMT at all-time highs that gets put in at the 28th of January or whatever. Now, what is important about SMTs? You can't just base an entire bias based off of an SMT. You have to look at what the reaction of the SMT is. How does the market react to this bearish SMT? Well, we have a little bit of initial chop, but then a big sell-off here that opens up a bearish 4-hour fair value gap. This 4-hour fair value gap holds bearish. We sell off heavy. Now, what's very important here? When we sell off here from this 4-hour, we do not take the external low of this price leg. So notice, this sell-off here that comes from this 4-hour fair value gap leaves this low intact, meaning we are continuing to generate sell-side liquidity. After this low gets put in here, what do we get? We get the rebalance to where? Where do we rebalance? I can't talk right now. This 4-hour intermediate high. So notice this high here on ES gets swept out. We put in an internal bearish SMT at this internal high, also a turtle soup. So we come up, ES soups the high. Now once again, another bearish SMT gets put in. What am I looking to see? The reaction of this SMT, right? And I also like that this like daily wick here on NQ comes out and sweeps out these two intermediate highs, or not intermediate highs, sorry, but just internal highs on NQ. We sweep out these internal highs, and once again, what is the reaction of this? A strong sell-off. Now, what is the biggest thing that sells me here on a short bias? This fair value gap here. This 4-hour fair value gap. Very clear, very obvious, and large bullish 4-hour fair value gap on NQ gets completely obliterated. The market shows absolutely no sign of wanting to hold this. As you can see, this was the move that happened yesterday at market open at 8 a.m. We get this massive sell-off straight through the 4-hour. I'm sure, I mean, I didn't trade yesterday, but I'm sure this big wick right here probably sold a lot of people out. A lot of people were probably taking longs right here because I wanted to see the rebalance. Because I mean, what's happening right here? We're wicking this massive bullish imbalance, and then obviously we've left unfilled imbalances like this one up here. So I'm sure this move right here faked a lot of people out. Like I said, I didn't trade yesterday, so I don't know. Haven't traded in 2 weeks, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Is we get this huge sell-off through all of these levels, and the 4-hour in particular turns into an inverse. And this is when I'm like looking at this market this morning. I was extremely bearish because of this reason. Now I do recognize that we have this untapped 1-hour, and I do want to see us go there eventually. Now that you can see ES is holding the 1-hour here, and then we've got this bullish SMT at this low, we'll probably get this rebalance. But I mean, that's a little bit getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves. So at market open, what did I want to see? I also recognize this internal bearish SMT here, but at market open, we immediately sold off, right? So the 1 minute candle, I mean, straight up almost 100 points right at market open. So as you can see, this first candle here is like 82 points that we sell off. Now, am I taking a short in this 1 minute? No. Like in scenarios like this, when I'm looking to take continuation trades, like the reason I'm calling this a continuation is because notice the market didn't open, come up, sweep out, London high and then get displacement. We've already started to sell off in the overnight session, and then the market opens and we have no manipulation higher. We just continue to sell straight off. So in these types of situations, when we don't get any rebalance and we just continue to sell, I need to see at least a 5 minute fair value gap open up. So at this point in time here, so let me just go back on the chart. At this point in time, I'm not interested in taking a trade. I will not short this 1 minute fair value gap because a lot of the times you'll see this just end up being a fake out, and then the market ends up running higher to have some form of manipulation, and then we get the sell-off. So until I see at least a 5 minute fair value gap open up, or higher, maybe a 15 minute, but at least a 5 minute bare minimum, I will not take a short here because there's been no manipulation. But what I notice is that this internal low right here, NQ ends up selling far below. Now ES, on the other hand, if we go to ES, absolutely does not. So let me just replay because
Okay, I hate, yeah, bro. I can't, bro. The back testing feature on what's it called on TradingView is so buns. But this is what ES looked like at the moment at market open, or like a few minutes after market open. So ES had nowhere near taken out this low. NQ was far below this low. So NQ was all the way at this low right here where I have this SMT marked, and ES was not even taking this low. So because we had that internal bullish SMT that looks like this, I'm still bearish overall, but I can't fade this big of an SMT. I have to see at least some sort of reaction from an SMT this massive. So what do I want to see? The next form of buy side liquidity be swept out. So when ES had not taken out this low yet, so this is what ES looked like. I'm like, okay, I'm still bearish overall, but there's a reason this SMT is here. Now, what do I want to see? I want to see ES go and have some form of manipulation. I want to see ES go sweep out the nearest form of buy side liquidity. So what did I notice? Is this mattering to me? Not really. I want to see like a significant swing high be swept out. Now this is the high that caught my attention. What is this also? This is also a 30-minute intermediate high. So I don't know if there's actually a fair value gap on ES. I forget, but I know for sure there is on NQ. So yeah, there's no real fair value gap on ES, but if you look at NQ, you can see this is a 30-minute intermediate high. As you can see right here, this is a 30-minute fair value gap. This is the high that rests inside of the fair value gap. So this 30-minute intermediate high caught my eye. It's also the 7:30 a.m. high. So as you can see, it was like 7:34, I believe. Yeah, 7:34. So I'm looking at this, and I said to myself at this point in time, like as soon as I start to see this rebalance after this bullish S&T, I said I want this high to be taken, and I want it to be turtle soup. So I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. Notice I don't care about this 1 minute. And this is what I was talking about, by the way. It's like so many people, I'm sure, tried to short this 1 minute gap. We're also coming from a bearish 5 minute here. But guys, like you gotta wait for the bigger time frame to do its thing. Like this SMT is not just put in for no reason. SMT is gonna do something. What is it gonna do? It's gonna go take out the nearest form of buy side. So like I said, as soon as this candle starts to trade higher, I've got my eye on this high. I mark it out, and I want this to be turtle soup. And I said to myself multiple times, I want to see market sweep this, lack displacement higher, and then immediately dump. And that is exactly what happened. I even longed this, like not like actually taking a trade, like I said, I'm just paper trading, but just like to show how confident I was that this was going to be soup. I took a long like right here. I think it was actually right here. I didn't even have a stop placed. I just had let it run, and I had my take profit at this high. And then this ended up obviously going there, and then I immediately took it off because I said I wanted this to be soup. I wanted to see immediate displacement. So when this gets taken out, look at NQ. This was the 1 minute gap on NQ. And I do like, we never opened a 5 minute. Okay, let me just clarify that right quick. We never opened a 5 minute bearish or value gap. As you can see, we're just chopping around here. But I do like that we never displaced through this. We never even closed above it. So this 1 minute fair value gap on NQ ended up holding bearish the entire time. But I'm not interested in taking any sort of setup until this happens, until this SMT gets put in. So notice, right here is where the SMT should be marked out. So this high right here at 848, ES takes out this internal high here, which is this high here. So an internal bearish SMT gets put in. Now that we've had some form of manipulation, what can I do? I can erase this SMT at the lows because it doesn't matter, because this SMT has now done its job. What was its job? To rebalance price, to have some form of manipulation. Now, am I taking a short yet? No, I still need to see what did I say at the beginning of the recap? The reaction of the SMT. I have to see the reaction of this SMC. So what did I say to myself at the beginning? I said I wanted to see ES sweep out this high and then immediately get strong displacement. And then same goes for NQ. So when ES sweeps out this high, we put in this internal bearish SMC. I look to see are there any fair value gaps that we can run through. Not on the 1 minute. Obviously, there's not going to be any on the 2 minute. So I looked at the 30-second, and we do have a very clean. Remember, this is the 1 minute, but I'm just going to drag this over here. We have this very clear and obvious 30-second bullish imbalance. So this is what I'm looking to right here to get ran through. So this is the imbalance. And then this candle here is where I take my short. So notice initially we kind of try to hold it here. We get bought up a little bit, but what we're just doing here is rebalancing to this 30 second. So as you can see, small 30-second fair value gap. We get the rebalance, and then very clear and obvious strong displacement lower. This fair value gap becomes an inverse, and I take my short at the candle closure here. And you could have waited for the 1 minute change, which was like right here, but I was just so confident in this setup. I just knew this was going to go. Because, and guys, the reason I was so confident in this is because of this right here. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Because of this. When ES sweeps out this high, And I mean, I was looking at this all morning. I was waiting for this high to get taken. And then, like I said, when this got taken, I wanted to see immediate displacement. And when that is exactly what happened, I was just so sold on a short bias. And like also, like I said, something you always have to be paying attention to is liquidity. Is obviously that's the most important part of any setup. But look at the market. We already have previous day's low here. We have Monday's low here. At market open, we sell off, but we still don't take out previous day's low. So this is the sell off that happens right at market open. But notice, do we sweep this low? No. We generate more sell side liquidity. So we've got the low that was left after market open. We've got Tuesday's low here. We've got Monday's low over here. You know where that is. Let me just delete this. Then we've got what? The internal bearish SMT. We've got the 4-hour for value gap getting completely ran through right here. This 4-hour gets completely dumped through. Internal bearish SMT at this 4-hour high. And just it's so obvious that the market's moving lower here. So I was extremely sold on a short bias here, which is why I didn't wait. But all that yapping I just did was to explain why I didn't wait for this candle to close right here. I just slapped on my short. I didn't. This was the 1 minute change, and as you can see, we ended up getting a beautiful rebalance after the 1 minute change, and then there was also a 2 minute for value gap here that I had marked out. But I just slapped my entry on this 30-second inverse right here. Here, so my trade looks like this. Stop was at the high, and I was targeting this external low right here. And yeah, I mean, beautiful trade. We get a quick sell off, but notice what are we still doing once we get this sell off? We are still leaving sell side intact. So we don't take out Tuesday's low, which is this, and we also don't take out the low that was put in after the market opened. So we're just continuing to generate sell side liquidity here. Such a clear and obvious bias. And then, but what I noticed here though is that we actually had a small but an internal bullish SMT right here. So normally I would move my stop to break even here, but I was so confident in this that I didn't, and I would have almost got stopped to break even if I did. But the reason that I didn't is because I just knew this was moving lower, but at the same time I also was pretty sure that we were going to get some sort of rebalance higher because of how volatile and quick this move was. Like notice this was a straight down move. You usually won't see this move here go straight to sell side. You'll see some form of rebalance. Now, how do I know when the rebalance is going to happen? SMT. So ES ended up taking out, like, let me see where it was. Yeah, right here. Notice ES sweeps out this low here. Barely, but we do it. So ES sweeps out the low. I expect to see some form of rebalance. Now, when I see this candle start to trade higher and I see this SMT, I just leave my stop at the high where it is because I recognize that we could come all the way to this 1 minute, and notice that's 1 minute is right where my entry point was. So if we were to come to this 1 minute and I move my stop to break even, I would probably get break even stopped. But what we had was actually a 2 minute that I marked out. 2 minute ends up holding very nicely. So as you can see, we had this bearish 2 minute. This is also the 2 minute change in the state as well as the 1 minute change in the state. But market just beautifully wicks this, respects it, and when we get a huge dump lower. Now I did have Monday's low marked out, but I wasn't gonna hold. I didn't hold all the way to Monday's low, but you definitely could have held this. The reason I didn't is because we had news at 9. I think it was I forget what it was. It was like PMI, I believe. It was at 9, but let me check actually right quick. Um, I swear it was PMI. Yeah, PMI right here. So 9 a.m. PMI. I wasn't gonna hold through that, but obviously it ended up playing out all the way